Thank you for doing this, for taking time to do this. And first off, can you just state what year you were born, if you don't mind?
I was born in 1978.
Okay, cool. Um, okay, first of all, can you talk a little bit about growing up in Memphis and like kind of the music you were exposed to when you were younger, by your parents?
I really didn't get into playing music until I was a teenager, until I was like 16 years old.
Mhm.
And didn't even take lessons really till I was at Rhodes, so I was 18. And so younger, I really wasn't that exposed. I remember as a kid, I wanted to be in the Fat Boys and in Europe. I wanted to like rap to the Final Countdown. So I knew I had that. I knew I had that in me somewhere, but it took a while for it to get out. But when I started getting exposed, I was exposed to a lot of different music by my peers who had been playing the instruments their whole lives and really gotten to the nitty gritty of the mechanics and blues music, basically.
So when was the first time you picked up an instrument?
Oh, probably at a young age, probably like 9 or 10, but I didn't really know what to do with it, or did I really? I was more interested in like sports and, you know, other stuff than trying to learn the instrument. I didn't take it seriously until, about 17, maybe 18.
Did you grow up listening to like Memphis-based music?
I did not grow up listening to much Memphis-based music. I mean, my mother was an Elvis fan, and she would put that on, but I was really into rap because it was new. It was like brand new, and Run DMC and the Beastie Boys, and then the harder edged rock and roll stuff. And when you're interested in the guitar, it's like that's the first thing you kind of gravitate toward. And being born in 1978, there's a lot of 80s hard hair metal.
Yeah, who were some of the bands? It's born in '77, so I'm right.
I would say early on, Europe was a big one for me. Rat was a big one for me. Motley Crue, of course, and then Guns N' Roses later followed. But those were probably the top four.
Okay, cool. Can you tell us about the first few bands you were in at MUS, and how this got started?
Yes. The first band I was in at MUS, the first real band I was in at MUS was called Sky Cow. And the guys were a little older than I was. I was replacing a guy who was graduating, and I was ninth grade, I think. And that was a big time learning experience for me because I really didn't know much about the instrument. And I was just like, "Oh, you play guitar? Come on, And it was one of those things. And so I learned some chords really quickly, and luckily that Jay Sansing, the lead guitar player, showed me pretty much everything to play. So that was kind of my first experience in a band setting. And it was great because Sky Cow had a built-in following. They used to play the Daisy and Smash. I mean, it would be like packed in there, and we had articles about in the Commercial Appeal written about us about how like these 15, 16-year-old kids are playing shows to packed audiences and everybody has to be home by 9,
Yeah. So how did you decide to come to Rhodes, and what made you want to study music once you were at Rhodes?
I was not going to come to Rhodes. I was going to go to a state school, a bigger state school. The reason I came to Rhodes was because of the music in Memphis, and that's no lie. I had just met this about 9 months before I started at Rhodes. I had just started playing with Jeff Birch and Blake Ray, who both went to MUS and to Rhodes. Jeff didn't, I'm sorry. And they were already really talented players, and were kind of schooling me. And we started a band called CYC that kind of did their thing regionally, and I got my first record deal when I was like 20 years old at Rhodes. With these guys, and they were kind of the ones teaching me all about stuff, and that's kind of how I got into the roots of Memphis music, and kind of paved the way to what I was going to study.
Can you talk about a little bit about your first record deal and how that came about?
Yeah, the first record deal was with the band CYC. That we stayed in Memphis, and we were kind of had an alternative cast of characters, kind of rotating. And at one point we were a 13-piece band, with horns and the whole nine, background singers. And then But we traveled. We got signed as a quartet. It's 4 of us: bass, drums, guitar, and a keyboard sax player. And we got signed to this label called CD Memphis, and this was right when the internet was kind of jamming, like the beginning of 2000. Like I think it was 1999 or 2000. And Norbert Putnam was the guy who signed us, who is a record producer in Nashville, Memphis. I think he teaches at Delta State now. He still does, yeah. So he started this record label down at the Cadre building downtown. And it was basically, we'll sign artists, we'll do the production in-house, and then instead of really coming out with these physical copies of the CD, we'll do it all internet-based. And he was kind of forward-thinking. But we were like so young and like ready to hit the road. We were like, what do you mean we're not going to have CDs? It's called CD Memphis, you know? So we ended up printing some CDs and ended up touring regionally until that all fell apart.
Okay, cool.